Hey, what's up guys? My name is Cameron Gallagher and I just hopped off the live stream from BLACKMAGIC Design and I want to make this video because my mind is blown. If you didn't know, BLACKMAGIC just released a 12K URSA Mini Pro. That's right, 12K, not 8K, they skipped right past it. A 12K URSA Mini Pro. And I want to talk to you about why I think this is a very interesting camera and why you're probably not ever going to buy it. First off, they announced a couple other things. First off, they announced a couple of recorders and monitors. Some of the small little Thunderbolt 3 ones they just converted to Thunderbolt 3. And some of the monitors they have just make them a little more affordable, which is great. But obviously the big thing was the URSA Mini Pro 12K. And this thing is mind-boggling. So I have the stats up here because I want to talk about what this thing is. But I want to talk about why I first think that this is an interesting camera in general. And the reason being is you'd think, well, 8K in my opinion is ridiculous, and so is 12K. But there's a reason why they're releasing this camera into a certain market. See, camera companies will release cameras like the Canon R5 where it's 8K, but it doesn't make much sense because it's 8K for a workflow for people that don't need 8K. BLACKMAGIC come out with this, or they just came out with this camera, and you're not going to be able to buy it because it's not for sale right now. They're going to be sending it out to high-end DPs, and they're going to be getting a lot of feedback first because this is a high-end camera. This is for a high-end workflow. And I think that's something to keep in mind is that this camera is really made for high-end feature films. They priced it like it's not, but it technically is. So the big reason why they went with 12K was very interesting. It was more about the way the sensor works, that making an 8K sensor would, he said something about prisms they would have to use in order to create that, so more aliasing or tearing and worse scaling. So the reason why they went with this 12K sensor is that it perfectly scales down to 6K and 4K, so you can actually downsample, actually 8K as well, you can downsample all of these in the camera. And that's one of the incredible things they were talking about is with BLACKMAGIC RAW now, you can downscale these resolutions inside of the camera with much less artifacting, so things like aliasing or moire or that kind of stuff. So what that means is although this is a 12K camera and that's a little ridiculous, yes, if it's a high-end film where they're doing a high-end workflow, 12K is great for visual effects and things like that. But the great part is that they could punch in perfectly, scale down to 6K, have more detail, but still have a 6K sensor. And that was one of the biggest things that they wanted to talk about was why they did 12K. And I think that's the most interesting, and I think that's what really interests me the most, is that the 12K sensor is more of a necessity and an ease to the customer than it is just flexing. And that's what originally I'm like, oh, 12K, they're just flexing. But it's not. They were smart about it. So this is a 80 megapixel 12K Super 35 sensor, which is kind of insane to say. And the crazy part is it can shoot up to 12K 60 frames per second. That's right, 12K at 60 frames per second. And 8K up to 110 frames per second. So that's pretty insane. And obviously the ISO is about the same. 800 has all the ND filters, all that kind of stuff. And they were talking about some of the color science too, which I thought was really interesting. And because it's coming down from the camera pipeline, from the camera to the actual, codec to the ingestion and the image pipeline, basically, they were saying that from top to bottom, they can do so much more efficiently, and the 12K can actually run on a laptop well because of the way that they're running everything top to bottom. And I think that's what's most interesting about this camera is a 12K camera that can run efficiently on a laptop, and obviously not going to run on a laptop, but people using this are going to be running on a Mac Pro, and to think that they can have a multicam shoot with a 12K, they can downsample, they can shoot RAW, they can have these high frame rates. It's massive flexibility for high-end filmmaking, which is what they're targeting, and that's who they're targeting. And in my eyes, this is a direct punch at a company like Red, who, is all about the, high K cameras, and that's cool for them, but what BLACKMAGIC just did is they just basically created a 12K camera that, in my eyes, sounds a lot better. The compression, everything total, top to bottom, but they're also selling it for $10,000. That's insane because right now a Red Raven, I think, is like $10,000. So the idea that you could get an URSA Mini Pro that uses all of your old URSA Mini accessories that shoots 12K is awesome. Now here's the thing. This camera is not going to be for just about anybody. And that's what I want to really touch on in this video is that people are going to be on the internet being like, I just bought an URSA Mini Pro. Like, what the heck? Like, why'd they come out with this? Or some people are going to say, this is ridiculous and this is stupid. Other people are going to say, this is an awesome deal. This should be the camera you buy. This is not. This is not going to be the camera you're going to buy. It's just like some Panavision cameras are ones you'll never buy. The reason why you don't see people talking about Panavision cameras is because They're mainly just used on high-end film sets. The Aries 65, I mean, I got the LF, but mainly these cameras are made for a high-end workflow. The reason why we're even talking about this is because it's from a camera company that started very indie, has worked their way up, and of course the price tag is incredibly low. But keep in mind, this camera is for high-end professionals. This workflow is for high-end professionals. A 12K perfectly scaled camera is going to be awesome for a company who wants to shoot a high VFX film. Like I think about back when Red used the 8K, or I don't remember who it was, Marvel did the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 on the 8K Red. It makes sense because they wanted a 4K master and they wanted massive amount of data for green screening and VFX. This is the same concept. As resolutions get higher and higher, to be able to perfectly scale to 6K from a 12K sensor will just allow you that much more flexibility later on. And that's what these high-end productions are looking for, is flexibility, and they want to be able to change things and move things much more efficiently. And that flexibility is what's important in a high-end workflow where, you can shoot 12K perfectly scaled to 6K or shoot native 12K. Us as indie filmmakers or YouTube creators or content creators, whatever, this camera is super overkill. It's awesome. It's really cool, but it's way overkill. So you're probably going to see videos that are like, Blackmagic just beat the Canon R5, and I think the Canon R5 is not smart, and I talked about that in a video linked up. But I think there's a lot of situations where this camera and this camera workflow is not for everyone, and it's not going to be for everyone, and I think that's okay. So if you just bought a 6K pocket camera, or you just bought a 4K pocket camera, or you bought an URSA Mini Pro G2 or G1, you're fine. They're still the top cameras. They're still awesome. They're still amazing. This 12K camera is really cool, and I love the technology, and I do love the idea of the new color space. They showed off some of the skin tone stuff. It looked awesome. I think that's actually going to come to cameras, to our cameras, the Blackmagic cameras, so we're going to be able to get a hold of that, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the Generation 5 color science. So it's going to be really awesome. We're going to get a hold of that. We're going to be able to use that in DaVinci Resolve, so the cameras we have now just got better, and that's awesome. And anyway, that's my kind of take on the Blackmagic 12K. It's an awesome piece of technology, and it's an awesome piece of technology for incredibly high-end filmmakers. So don't be discouraged that it's not for URI or anyone else. That's, us people on the bottom here. But I think it's really cool, and I commend Blackmagic for doing that and just pushing the market that much further. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.